However much you try to hide your height, Mike will tell us what is your height. Um, he told me that he is a professor electronic media, and what it means, I'm a teacher basically. And he says, I'll give you 20 minutes, 25 minutes, 25 and a half minutes. As a teacher, once you are on the stage, barobari, 1 ghanta. Yeah? No, I'm not going to do that. Thank you very much, sir. Maybe redundant. Good evening. Most of it, my good friend, the professor, has told you about this, and he has made my job very, very easy, because he's talked about so many things. Technology that he touched, which I am not. But through that participatory governance, in a different perspective, I'll try to, because let's not be repetitive of what Professor told just now. Surely, participatory governance involves citizens, civil society, organization, decision making. My concern is when we talk about participatory governance, how good we are in our democratic system, how democratic we are to go for a self-governance, which is more important. Professor was telling that participatory governance is about democracy. Can I take that? But I feel that democracy is much more important than, unless and until I have a proper democratic system working in our country, anywhere, any part of the world, difficult for a self-governance, participatory democracy, participatory governance. Go back to 1980s, or maybe 1990s, after liberalization, globalization. How are we then and how are we now? Most of you youngsters have no idea how the socialism worked in our country, how the socialistic setup was there in our country. It stopped at us, I think, when we were young at that time. Socialism part of our life, and we have to search for that. Where is it? Democracy then, democracy now. We always say that India is a democratic country and Indians are not. Today, it stands at that. We are not. I don't know how many of you agree or disagree here, because the essence of democracy is something I and you cannot imagine. At every level, democracy, should be understood how it works, including in our own family, how we behave, how we treat our children, our co-citizens, how democratic we are. Unless and until I understand the essence of it, the participatory governance may fail altogether. It is not a simple thing, to be democratic. Because we are controlled, we citizens are controlled by, so many things. In the family, by the parents, especially father. In the colleges and the schools, it is the professors and the teachers and the principals. It is nothing but that. So, how am I to get into this of participatory governance unless and until I'm given that freedom. In the morning session, our friends were talking about bureaucrats, and which is the biggest problem in our country is our own bureaucracy. Politicians make rules for the good of us because they have to get elected next time, but the bureaucratic system need not have to worry about that. They have a different ball game to do, unlike politicians. So we have a problem there. In an American system, the way democracy functions, very difficult to understand democracy there when you go there to study in a university level. When they become informal society, when they become formal society, it's very difficult. And democracy works, more systematically there. I'll just give you a small example how democracy works there. The Chief Justice of United States of America had gone for some party, and he has gone with his grandson and his wife, and all good public, good gathering, and he was to deliver lecture there, and they were having coffee, biscuit. At the time, the grandson, who is 5-6-year-old, he was running around. This Chief Justice was drinking his coffee, and he dashes against him, and the coffee spills on his silk. His wife was watching that, and this man was keeping quiet, and the boy was still running around. The lady tells him, "Why can't you scold him? See what he did for you. Now you have to deliver. Now what do we do?" He said, "Let me ask him whether he did this as a citizen of this country or a grandson of mine before I scold him." Can we ever think in that way? To that extent, they are very sensitive to democracy, democratic system. For me, it's there, hai na wahan, chalo, hai mera paas hai. Democracy is with me, How do I value that? Am I valuing that? This is very, very difficult. But we have, in the morning also, there was a lovely word that, the speaker was telling about NGOs and the government, and how NGOs have taken over the government. Very strange. But in a democratic setup, NGOs have their role to play. So how will we give them space? Now come back to the real governance with this kind of a system here. We are sometimes, we are very sensitive to certain issues. In a democracy, you should not be. If you talk about such kind of issues like budget, we become very sacrosanct about budget. The moment the budget is there on a particular day, all of us will be looking towards that. Before that, many discussions takes place on budget. The central government, the state governments, especially the central government, they discuss so much about that. We also participate sometimes when they call us. Now, once budget is done and about to be presented in the parliament, I'm not supposed to discuss that publicly. Okay? What have you there in that, Mr. Finance Minister? Can we discuss that? No, ऐसा नहीं हो सकता क्योंकि it becomes contempt of legislation, contempt of parliament if I discuss beforehand. Now, the question is, For whom and for what? Can democracy answer this? If it is for me, why can't I discuss beforehand? You have done your budget, give it to me. I want to discuss about that. Then I will tell you any limitations there. But they say, we will present, then we will discuss. When they put on table, when they put on the parliament, there will be so many lacunae in that, and afterward discussing, doesn't give us any answer. If they allow me, but it is satisfied. The parliament, our constitution says you are not supposed to divulge anything to the media before it is discussed in the parliament. To the extent government may fall. If any media, any newspapers, any television discusses about the budget before it is presented, the government has to fall. To that extent, our constitution. So, again, for whom and for what? There are many, narratives in our country as far as governance is concerned. Ours is no doubt a very, very peculiar country. And whatever I tell is simultaneously false, simultaneously true. That's India for us. If I tell you that in the morning I had rat for my breakfast, पागल हो गए क्या? क्या बात कर रहा है? Have you gone mad? How could you say this? नहीं, झूठ कह रहे हैं. No, we don't eat rat. We eat idli, sambar, masala dosa. But I eat rat. It's true also that not many tribals in our country relishes rat. You say, oh, don't tell me that. That is India for us. So difficult in a system like ours, where we have so many narratives, to talk about the essence of democracy. No doubt, governance, has to be there, and it has to be participated. There is no two words about that. It's a lovely topic that, participatory governance. So lovely to hear that, I participate day in and day out because I want good governance. Am I allowed to do that? I go to MS building. I go to Vikasa Sauda for my, I have a lot of problem there. To discuss the problem, kaun hai wahan? Who will listen to me? Where do I take my file? I have a problem. Professor साहब ने तो बता दिया कि technology has gone beyond all of us, and it's nothing but data now by 2020. Scary. Unless and until decentralization takes place at every level in our country, very difficult. Good governance is good decentralization. Unless and until participatory democracy have to succeed in our country, decentralize everything. That is, the beauty. Again, panchayat system, which comes to the government should come even to the Hobli level, is what democracy is all about. The system is there. Panchayat Raj system is there. The state level administration is there. Central level administration is there. All these things, is good governance there? Is participatory governance there? I don't know. Unless, if that happens, transparency comes within that. When there is a participatory governance, there have to be transparency. At every level, at every step, That's the reason AiA become part of us now. And I should have the right to question everybody, every bureaucrat in this country, every politician in this country if he goes wrong. And I want to participate there in every of that. For that, bureaucracy has to cede power to powerless. Can they do that? Can they do that? Unless and until they cede power to the powerless, participatory governance, thoda sa matlab hoga. The next comes, transparency, accountability. And biggest drawback in our country is accountability. At every level, accountability. We talk about that, but who will give me accounts to what they did in the past 3 months? Our government, is it less than 3 months? What did you do in all those things? We are so confused whether the budget allocation is more for south of Karnataka or north of Karnataka. We are still fighting. The figures that they gave during the budget was one, and suddenly now the figures are coming that North Karnataka got more than South Karnataka. Then why are you fighting? Then who is wrong? Can you give us, proper accountability, at least in our budget presentation? So unless and until, that happens, for all these things, again, bureaucracy. The way bureaucracy go in the Vidhana Saudha corridors, if you see the way they hold the files, they'll be holding like this and walking around. Why are they so scared about that, file? What is there in that? Why can't they show it to us? When an RTI is asked, they will close certain parts and then take the Xerox of the other part and give it to me. And they say, मैंने कुछ note किया था ना वहाँ, that note you should not see. That is for internal. What is that internal in a democratic system? On what you have written, I want that important because, you're talking about the policy as a bureaucrat. Lekin, they will not. So, if that is the thing in accountability, in that also is there, participatory governance means, something for us. It has to be empowerment to the weakest. Is participatory governance. If that happens, good. And professor was talking about, 25 to 64 years, the youngest. How do we, bring that kind of a populace to the technology that he is talking about? Other day, TCS, is one of the largest companies in our country. I have friends there. I took 4 of them to Davanagere, which is 300 plus kilometers from here, from there to another village, where first standard, second standard, third standard, till 8th standard, school teachers, students are there. This company, they have, what do they call CSR, So I said, under that, aap aiye wahan. Can you help them? Because one of my friends is running that school there. So I said, come to that village, come to that. So they came there, because TCS is more interested in such kind of activities. They were able to, come for 3 continuous days, they taught the school children about the computer and holding of the computer for first standard, student. Now, that is decentralization done by TCS, not any government agency. Okay? I knew somebody, they knew someone else, the school knew me, so somehow we were able to. Now, these children and their parents, you should have seen the last day, 4th day, when there is an evening function, how children, almost they were changed. I can see the brightness in them that I can handle computer, The 2nd standard, 3rd standard student, if he does that. They have 40 computers in their school, like no teacher. The owner of that school, he wants them to learn something there. Almost 380 students there. All over other, villages come there. He has provided the bus also for them. But computer, no. But आप तो टेक्नोलॉजी के बारे में बात कर रहा है. आप तो कह रहा था कि to 2020. Sir, unless and until this participatory governance goes there, reaches them, and bring them also to the mainstream, that's how it should work, and it will work in that sense. Unless and until, again, federalism was talked about in the morning, I was listening to that. It has to be, participatory governance have to be federally driven initiative. Unless and until we do that, federal structure have to be maintained. Itna aasan nahi hai, in a system like ours. But, we have to do that. Participatory governance is again a long-term commitment for all of us. Unless and until that, happens. The politicians, the bureaucrats, the education experts, come to that for a long-term commitment to the participatory governance. Yes, it is possible. Participatory governance should have the capacity to push the programs that's being implemented. The problem is again at the implementation level. I have everything in the board, they discussed everything. I'll just give one more example how participatory governance works on that. I come from BTM layout. Okay? In whole of India, as you know, BTM pollution level is next only to Delhi. And then traffic jams only in BTM, Central Silk Board. It's not that there are no traffic jams there, but according to the study, the highest traffic jam is there. Now, government of, the last government, in their budget, in the first budget, they gave 100 crores to build a flyover. If somebody knows about this one, from Ragegudda temple to Central Silk Board, flyover will come on top. We stay there. I'm a president of some association there, So we were keenly involved in this. Ashok, very good. Aap jo kar rahe hai, very good one, you are doing that. So where will you end that, sir? Anta we asked the DPA. They said, don't worry, from Central Silk Board to 29th Main. Now, electronic city goes beyond 29th Main. You have to turn a right turn, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 38, and then electronic media, electronic city. Now, up to 29th Main, we will stop. Then what will happen to the traffic then? Don't ask all those things. Then suddenly, they said, metro is also coming there. So, we have to make a big group of civil society, We formed a group and then went and bombarded the authorities. What are you people doing? Would you like to take us also for the account and then tell us what's happening there, Anta? Then we suggested metro at the first level, flyover at the second level, and the ground level you have road, Anta. What are you talking? No, the metro will not be responsible if something happens, if it falls onto the flyover. Why should we take this responsibility? So you have no guarantee about your own engineering technology that it will fall onto the flyover. And then they said, nowhere in India it is there. So this is where participatory governance comes into the picture. And some of us went to Jaipur with our mobile phones only, took the mobile where both are there, flyover, and then metro is there, came and showed it to them. I said, hi, can India mein? Oh, very good. Chalo. Then again went to the board, discussed years together. I'm talking to you 3 years back. Now the work has started. But participatory governance gave us some kind of a solace there, because we made them to listen and also told them that it has to drop at HSR layout. There's a central silk board, flyover is there. Next to that, don't make anywhere here. They are very, very angry with us. I know that the bureaucracy is so angry with us. Who are they to dictate terms? We are the end users. And it is not 1 or 2 crore rupee or 100 or 200 crore rupee job. Thousands of crore rupees is being spent on that, and it's my money, your money. Don't I want to know where you start, where you end, what will happen tomorrow? We are all middle class people. After a long struggle, we have built our own house, and now you are telling, give me that house. That to what? They want half of my house, another half, to hell with you, get lost. They told me this on my face. We want only half. Sir, other half, what do we do, sir? Because if we take one half, other half I can't even enter. That's your headache. No, sir, no one will buy, sir. So why can't you only buy? Hey, namu beda riya. We want only this much. Why are you giving me more than what I want? So, again, at every level, at the central silk board, it is the participatory governance which helped all of us to make them understand that it is for us, people. That's what I told you. For what and for whom? Ye nahi chhodega. But he has given me 5 minutes. Thank you very much. So, it happens like that. Capacity to push programs for implementation is the one that, I was worried about, and which, participatory governance should talk about that. It has to seek, citizens' commitments to the good governance. And that happens, participatory governance will really, will be successful, because democracy is such a great thing that is there in our country. We should be thankful to our earlier generation which decided that India will go democratic. Today we are seeing that. There was an aberration in 75, 70, 74, 75, where emergency suddenly came into the picture, and we were all victims of that. We saw what happened on that day in our country, those 1.5 dark period. But again, we came back. The youngsters should realize we got a second independence, Otherwise, we would have lost, but for the Jayaprakash Narayan's movement. We got the second independence, that we are the representatives of that era who are still alive and telling you that story, that what happened, how much struggle we had. When Indira Gandhi said, don't talk. She told us, don't talk. She came to the universities and told us not to talk. Professors, don't talk about Indira Gandhi. The Vice Chancellor is watching you. The Registrar is watching you. Don't tell anything to the student. Andre, look at that. Then I realized that, when I was 20 plus at the time, 20, 21, then it's, Arey, I can't speak anymore from now on. That's shocking for us as young elements, youngsters, that you cannot speak anta helidaga. So you people should realize that younger generation here, that you are so lucky that, democracy is there at its helm. Good governance afterwards it will come. Once democracy is there, good governance will automatically come because it is democratic setup. Democracy at its height. So the bottom line is, I would like to conclude telling that, unless and until there is a good democratic setup, good governance will follow. Thank you very much.